Hey everybody, welcome to the Woodsmith shop. We're in the middle of shooting season 13 in between episodes 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yep.
I believe. And we thought we'd take a little time to show off some of the shop projects that we've built over the years. We've realized you guys really love our table saw crosscut sleds. So we actually built this one, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years
Before
ago.
my time.
Yeah, longer ago than
this
that,
one's
maybe.
been living under my desk for 2 years now.
Yeah, so.
And it's one of those things we keep saying, we're going to film it, and we have time.
Right.
So we're showing you.
We're going to talk about it. So this is actually the model of Crosscut Sled that we use up in the magazine shop quite a bit. It's pretty versatile. You know, it's a lot deeper than a lot of the sleds that we've shown in the past. I think you can cut up to about 24-inch panel. You can get as much as, I don't know, 5, 6 feet once we added the extension on the end. But it's got some features that are unique to this one that are, you know, a little bit different than the ones we've shown in the past. So
Yeah, when I started the magazine, Phil got his fancy hoity-toity office, and I moved into his office.
You inherited.
I inherited this sled.
Wow, you're lucky.
I know, from Phil.
And then you can hand it down to your son.
Maybe, yeah. But this was in the office when I moved into it. So I asked about this sled because this is a lot nicer than any crosscut sled I had ever built myself in the shop. And one of our other editors said, "Yeah, that's cool," and we held on to it for photos. And then we started using other sleds for photos. And then I thought, hey, that might end up in my shop at some point. And then it disappeared, and John said, we need to shoot video with it. I was like, oh, yeah, that's probably a good thing. So it's been down here in our to-shoot video pile for a while, so we're clearing out some of that. But one of the things that I like about this sled is, I believe, and I could be wrong, I've been wrong before, but I believe this is built out of one sheet of Baltic birch plywood, a 60 by 60. So Baltic birch plywood is sold in 5 foot by 5 foot sheets, true Baltic birch plywood. And I believe you get this entire thing out of one 60 by 60 inch sheet, which is kind of cool because it is pretty large. Let me grab this extension. So this extension actually slides onto the back side, and there's a little knob that attaches it. There's actually a pair of them, but John will just stick one in because it takes him a while.
So
We're cheap.
we can only afford the one.
We can only afford one knob. But what that does is that extends out the crosscut stop capacity out to, what does it say down there?
64
inches, which is, I mean, I don't know any time that I've ever crosscut something longer than that except for bed rails. But
if you ever need to.
If you ever need to, you could.
You need the sled because it's...
But the cool thing is, when you do get out that long with a workpiece, a lot of the times the weight hanging off the edge of the saw, especially if you have a contractor saw like this, where it's not a full bed on both sides, a lot of the times the weight pulling it down causes your cuts to not be terribly accurate. But this has support clear out to 40 inches.
Yep.
And that is from the blade. So you have 40-inch support from the blade out, and then you have another, whatever that is, 24 inches out to the end of the
and sometimes,
wing.
Yeah, that's just not even safe because you're fighting to keep it down on the table and push it through, and something can happen.
Yeah, so
it just makes it safer.
Exactly. So, and there's a couple other features on this crosscut sled that is kind of cool. Like most of our crosscut sleds, this one is zero clearance, meaning that the sled itself creates a zero clearance insert around the blade. So it gives you the cleanest cut possible. You're supporting the fibers as they pass through the blade. And it's replaceable, so you can cut yourself extra, these are just what, 1/8" chardboard? And there's a series of brass screws that hold that insert plate in. You can pull those screws out, kick out those insert plates. They come out of the front or the back side. They just slide out, and then you can slide this guy back in and replace it. And when you make your first cut, it makes this one that you just placed in there zero clearance, which is really cool. It gives you clean cuts. The other things that we were talking about actually before we started filming was this T-track. So some of ours, I don't remember which, we have a handful of crosscut sleds, but a lot of them have the track along the top side of the fence. This one is actually buried in the face, which is kind of cool. It doesn't go all the way to the blade, So for you saw stop users that are worried about cutting into metal, cutting into the aluminum track, or have to turn the safety off before you cut into it for the first time, you don't have to worry about it on this one. Personally, if I was going to build this one for my shop, I would maybe bring the track a little closer just so you could get super close to the blade with the stop. Not that you ever need the stop that close, but it gives you some options for attaching accessories, stuff like that. Maybe a box joint jig here or whatever. This is one of our double runner versions.
Yes,
which is
few.
Oh yes, which we get questions every time we upload a video about one of our table saw sleds that has one runner. And people always want to know why one runner. Right. So what do you tell them, John?
I say it's just easier. I don't find any more stability between one or two. And if you're going to add two runners, it just adds the complexity of getting those perfectly spaced and parallel so they're not binding. And they can move over time and eventually bind. But what's really nice about this one is that those runners, they're actually mounted from the top of the sled. So if you need to adjust them or move them a little bit, if they're binding, you can do it from the top. You're not flipping it over, loosening screws, flipping it back and forth until you get it right. So you can do that right from the top of the sled. And
let's
it's really easy.
Yeah, while we're talking about the runners, let's flip it up, see if Andrew can get the runners on there. These ones I believe are, I'm going to call them phenolic.
Yep, that's what they are.
Is that what they are?
Phenolic
Okay.
resin. So they're not going to expand and contract like wood. They might be a little bit cheaper to make compared to the aluminum commercial runners, but it's just something different. I mean, it's preference, whether you want to make a wood one, they have their problems, or you could buy an aluminum.
Well, and I think the phenolic runners slide a little bit easier, personally. Obviously, you don't get the expanding and contracting like John said. The other option for runners is you could use a chewed up cutting board. So
if you have a big enough cutting board that the dog chewed up, grab it. You can make some runners.
But you can use different materials for the runners. But this is probably one of our nicest crosscut sleds, in my opinion. It has more features that I like than our other ones. So I think probably hence why this one is called the Ultimate
Crosscut Sled. Can we get some lightning and some booming voice effects here?
That'd be awesome.
We don't have the budget for that?
No, I don't think
Ultimate
so.
Warrior, can we get him to
We might be able
this?
to.
Or
Ultimate.
is he alive?
I don't know.
We'll look into
die?
that. We probably don't have the budget for that either. So,
but yeah, this one is labeled as the Ultimate Crosscut Sled. And if you guys are interested in maybe seeing a video of us building this guy, let us know down in the comments. We would love, if we have enough interest, we'd love to build it. The plans are available on woodsmithplans.com. And we'll see if we can get maybe the hardware links in there as well on that page, so people can see.
There's not a lot of hardware on here, which is nice. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
You're not buying all that top track.
Exactly. I mean, we have the track, the
track, and
the
a couple
tape.
knobs. The tape.
Maybe those runners. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we can get the product links on that Woodsmith Plans page. And the link for the Woodsmith Plans page will be down in the description. They will also be pinned on the first comment. I think that's what we've been doing.
Easy to find that way.
So
yeah, let us know. We'll build it. I'll build one for my shop.
Or I'll build one for my shop. Ooh. Maybe.
Dueling sleds.
Yes.
Bring it.
Ooh. Next video.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Yep.
Woodsmithplans.com. Hundreds of professional, high-quality woodworking plans right at your fingertips. Every single plan is presented as an easy-to-download digital package that includes pages of step-by-step instructions, full-color photos, illustrations, and exploded views, retail sources for hardware and supplies, plus a cutting diagram and materials list. Many plans offer handy video overviews and guides. Plus, we're proud to offer our plans in both standard and metric. Everything is here, from gorgeous heirloom furniture projects to handy shop projects and upgrades, clever, cost-effective storage solutions, as well as weekend projects and accessories that are great for gifts, all fully searchable and categorized for easy browsing. Woodsmithplans.com, everything you need for building fine woodworking projects.